Hello and good day to all friends. This is Mujtaba Rasti from the Thales team, and today is November 24th, 2025. I'm here with a morning analysis of Bitcoin using the Thales Market Screener tool. Please note that these analyses are purely for informational and educational purposes, and if you use them to take positions in the market, the responsibility for any profit or loss is entirely your own. So let's get started. In the first chart you see, we've filtered trades from November 23rd up to now for the November 25th expiry in the first database. As you can see, a bearish outlook dominates the curve. The targets for put buyers are around 85,000 at the gamma peak and about 77,000 at the intersection of the red curve and the gamma curve, which are visible. Overall, put buyers have a clear upper hand. When we look at the details of the trades, their target is below 82,600, which hasn't been reached yet. Call buyers, on the other hand, are expecting above 88,000, and we're currently moving in that direction, and to some extent that has already been realized, according to... As for the delta curve, the current upward movement could potentially continue up to around 90,000. If we follow the delta all the way up, we could see this move extend to about 90,000. The overall trading volume is low, and you can see here that there are just over 800 bitcoins for tomorrow, which is Tuesday. It's a bit interesting that the volume is this low and the sell volume is even less. Still, the dominance among sellers belongs to put sellers, who have seen a floor at 84,600. Call sellers, on the other hand, have set a ceiling for the current upward move at 82,884. So call sellers have set their ceiling at 82,884, which you could say was hit on the wicks of the previous hourly candles. So that ceiling has been reached for call sellers. If we move the slider forward to the middle of the trades and even consider the start of today, the bearish intensity of the curve increases even more. So this bearish situation isn't just from yesterday's trades, it's still prevailing today in the process database. However, if we look at today's trades, a bullish outlook is still visible. The problem, though, is that the volume is very low, around 100 or so bitcoins, so we can't really put much weight on it. Moving on to the next slide, we've set the expiry to November 28th. As you can see, a somewhat bullish atmosphere has taken over the curve, but looking more closely, we can see that we're currently at the lowest point of the delta. Right now, we're here, and the bottom has started from this point where put selling has begun. Well, this bottom could go as low as, you can see here, it's clear. This bottom could drop to around 77,000, or even lower to 75,000. The selling of puts indicates this. However, if we can get support from around 82 to 85, from here where the delta slope begins, up to about 85, then we might see a significant upward move. You can see the steps, how high they've gone, and how strong the moves are around 105,000. Here is also where the delta curve intersects with the red curve, which actually marks the start of the delta's upward phase, beginning its move up around 95,000. And here, where delta and the gamma curve intersect, it points to 113,000. So if we get support from the current levels, we could actually see a bullish move upward. Otherwise, if 83.4 breaks and doesn't hold a support, we'll probably head toward 80,000 and possibly even lower. Let's go. Next slide. Here you can also see the intersection of the option buyer and seller charts. The upper agreement point is at 91,000 and on the lower side it's 83,600. The lower agreement is in profit and forms the agreement zone. So this can indicate to us that there's a higher probability for the price to move downward. As always, the points were entered into the indicator. As you can see, once again, the indicator is showing increased volatility for tomorrow. The bands have opened up. We saw this situation yesterday morning as well, but as we moved into the afternoon, the market's direction became clearer, and in fact, the bands turned bullish. For today, we need to see if trading volume increases throughout the day. These bands might change their condition. For now, we're seeing increased volatility. But again, you can see that the movement of the red band downward isn't very sharp or intense. In fact, even compared to yesterday and previous days, we've created a higher low. Even though yesterday's low was lower compared to the day before, we've made a higher low, which I think is around 83,000. Here, the prices finally reached the green band, and from here, we could see another move toward the red band as we expect some fluctuations. If we get support around 83,000 to 84,000, we could move toward 991,000. You can also see that the RSI has left those divergences behind and is entering a bullish phase. Here too, the situation is completely bullish. It's now hit the 50% level, and we need to see, in fact, whether it will get support from the moving average to continue moving upward, or if this move toward 82,300 to 84,000 could just be a pullback of the RSI to its own moving average, and then, if it gets support, we can move on to the next slide, okay? In the next slide, we looked at the trades in the process database. Overall, we said the volume was very low, and in total, there were 294 Bitcoins. This database actually gives us the volume, and what stood out was that 205 Bitcoins were in just 5 contracts. So we only had 5 large contracts, ranging from 25 to 50 Bitcoins, which together made up 205 Bitcoins. And all of these were put purchases. What's interesting is that all these contracts were put buys. One of them, which is a 30 Bitcoin contract, actually belongs to today at 6 a.m., and the other 4 are from yesterday. But the 30 Bitcoin one is from today at 4 a.m., which again shows a completely bearish outlook. On average, it profits below 85,000, meaning we see a return to around 84 or 83,000 in these results. We also see this in the process database results. Let's move on to the last slide in the liquidity, which is really telling us something and matches the previous data. We see a significant level of liquidity between 82,000 and 86,000, with liquidity piling up intensely. This is the liquidity for the past 48 hours. Still, from 88,000 to 89,500, and now even 90,000, you can see liquidity, especially here between 88,000 and 88,500. In the short term, we can imagine this as the price target, and we've pretty much reached it already. I think we went up to 88,000, maybe even 88,200. So in the coming hours, we can still expect a move upward toward 88,400. To sum up, if we want to give a final conclusion, right now the outlook of call buyers is being realized, seeing profits at levels above 85,000. But since call sellers are not seeing a ceiling in this area, it seems we could go up to around this level, or even up to about 89,000 and capture that upper liquidity layer. After that, we might attack the put seller's floor, which is around 84,000 or even lower. The intersection of the buyer and seller charts shows a tendency toward the downside, as you saw. If we see support around 84,000, now this 84,000 we mentioned, 83,000, 85,000, it's a range. If we see support in this area, then considering the end of week curve, which shows some signs of an uptrend, we could even think about 90,000, 92,000 or higher. Otherwise, if it doesn't hold around 84,000, naturally we'll move toward 80,000 or 81,000, and that's our important bottom. If that bottom breaks, then we'll head towards 78,000, 75,000, and even lower numbers. Thanks for your attention. I hope this was helpful. Until the next analysis, goodbye.